What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Uber Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, interesting. 5 division, former world champion, former pound for pound king, retired legendary iconic boxer, turned promoter, Floyd Money Mayweather, who's the CEO of Mayweather Promotions and works hand in hand with the PBC, the Premier Boxing Champions, and advisor Al Heyman, has called out undefeated 3 division world champion, former junior welterweight undisputed world champion, and currently the WBO welterweight world champion, who is widely considered the best pound for pound fighter in the world. Now, he calls him out not in a disrespectful manner, but he challenges him as to why he gives out the blueprint, meaning Floyd Mayweather himself. He says, I gave out the blueprint. He says he don't understand why a guy like Terence Crawford, with all the talent in the world, and he said, this is no disrespect, but I just wonder why he would stay with Bob Arum. He says, it's clear as day what the agenda is. If you look at all the guys that left Top Rank, and then he says, well, he's just going to stay on him, right? And he says, Top Rank and ESPN, they label a guy by the name of Vasil High-Tech Lomachenko, 3 division world champion and currently unified lightweight world champion, better than Terence Crawford. And Floyd Mayweather says, no way, no how is Vasil Lomachenko better than Terence Crawford. So he questions and wonders why Terence Crawford himself don't see the writing on the wall and why Terence Crawford stays with Bob Arum. And oddly enough, this is the same sentiments that guys like myself have been saying about Terence Crawford because, for one, like Floyd Mayweather also says, he says Terence Crawford should be a lot bigger than what he is. He should be promoted a lot better than what he is. So I don't understand why he stays with a guy like Bob Arum, and then he goes on to say a few other things. But Floyd Mayweather says and utters the same sentiments that guys like myself have been saying, but get challenged by Team Crawford for saying such. Because Terence Crawford has all the talent. That's clear as day. But one wonders, how come Terence Crawford is not a bigger star than what he is? He should be a far bigger star. No doubt about it. And Floyd Mayweather challenges that and says, why would a guy like Terence Crawford, no disrespect, stay with Bob Arum? And he hears what's going on. He has to see that they're saying guys like Vasil Lomachenko, who's under the same promotional banner, under the same umbrella, and fights on the same network, is better than him, and there's no way, no how. This is what Floyd Mayweather had to say, right? Terence Crawford re-signed with Top Rank and Bob Arum, and a lot of people questioned that, and Terence Crawford, like I said, has all the talent in the world. He's widely considered pound for pound best in the world. But ESPN, the platform he fights for, released their top 10 welterweights. Terence Crawford is undefeated. He's a 3 division world champion. They released their pound for pound rankings and have 2 guys that are on the opposite side of the quote unquote street than Terence Crawford in 8 division world champion, legendary iconic superstar boxer, and currently the WBA welterweight world champion Manny Pac-Man Pacquiao at number 2. And get this, Terence Crawford, direct rival, who is the dance partner for the biggest fight in the sport of boxing currently today, undefeated unified WBC IBF welterweight world champion superstar boxer Earl of Truth Spence Jr. at number 1. And Terence Crawford comes in, you got it, at number 3. This is the network and the platform that he fights for. You understand? So one has to wonder, why is it that Terence Crawford, isn't higher on the list? Why isn't Terence Crawford promoted more than what he's promoted? Why isn't Terence Crawford's star power bigger than what it is? Terence Crawford did 2 pay-per-views, right? And they weren't big pay-per-views. They weren't that successful. He did one against Victor Postile, and I believe they're saying it did up somewhere upward of 75,000 pay-per-view buys. And he did a fight with Amir Khan, and I'm under the belief that it did about 100 and something thousand pay-per-view buys. For a guy with the talent of Terence Crawford, he should be doing far bigger numbers than these numbers, right? So Floyd Mayweather is challenging a guy like Terence Crawford, is saying, why isn't Terence Crawford bigger, and how come Terence Crawford would choose to stay with a guy like Bob Arum and he sees what's going on. He understands what's going on, right? He said, I gave Terence Crawford the blueprint. You understand, right? To, be successful on his own. He says, I'm partly responsible because, because of me, a lot of these guys, they want the Mayweather paychecks, but they don't want to be. They want the Money Mayweather paychecks, but they don't want the Pretty Boy Floyd. They don't want to go through what Pretty Boy Floyd went through, right? Let's just listen to it.
Floyd, you did something that nobody had done at that time. You broke with the promotion company and struck out on your own. How did you come to that decision? How did you say, you know what? Instead of me fighting for him and him getting a chunk of this, why not I fight? I'm in the ring. He ain't taking no blows. Let me get up.
It's not like I'm throwing shade. It's just that if I accomplished everything that I've accomplished, and I've done everything that I've done.
Priceline can save you.
So, Terence Crawford, he's saying that if I accomplished everything I've done, and I did, and I paved the way, and I showed you guys, how to get there. I don't understand why they.
How can you go to I look at guys like Terence Crawford.
Right.
Terence Crawford can be a lot bigger than he is. How can you how can you make, and this shows that racism still exists. How can you say that Lomachenko is better than Terence Crawford? Not at all. Not in a million years. Not at all.
Are they?
So what? You got to go listen to this in its totality, and you could get the full experience of what I'm trying to say. Obviously, I have to, skim over it, for obvious reasons, right? But with that said, he says that Terence Crawford should be bigger than what he is. And obviously, there's a lot going on. So there's more that he had to say in this interview. You got to listen to it in its totality. But my point in making this video was that these are the same exact things that I've been saying. When you reach the level that Terence Crawford has reached in his career, and this is no slight to Bob Arum. He's a legendary promoter. Or Bob Arum, or it's no slight against him. He's a legendary promoter, or his platform, Top Rank, right? But once you reach a certain level, Floyd Mayweather has given the blueprint to show you guys that you can do this on your own, and that's what Floyd Mayweather is saying. Terence Crawford can keep 100% of the revenue. Why is he settling in a situation where they're clearly choosing other guys over him? They're putting their stock in a guy like undefeated two-time heavyweight world champion, British superstar boxer Tyson Fury, who came to Top Rank at ESPN after Terence Crawford. They put their stock in Vasyl Lomachenko before they put it in Terence Crawford. So this is what Floyd Mayweather had to say. He's saying that Terence Crawford should be a far bigger star, and he should be getting these mega fights. Why is a guy with Terence Crawford's status and the position he's already in and what he's accomplished struggling to get big fights? People should be chomping at the bit to fight Terence Crawford. You know why people are not chomping at the bit to fight Terence Crawford? Because Terence Crawford and his team are not willing to come up off the necessary money to make these big fights. They just want to receive, but they don't want to give it back. Just like the initial offer to Kell Brook was $1.5 million for a Kell Brook fight. Or Danny Garcia, $3 million. These are massive fights. Telling Keith Thurman he priced himself out with $10 million. Those numbers are normal and low-level numbers when you're dealing with the PBC and their fighters. So Keith Thurman expects to get this amount of money. Danny Garcia expects to get a certain amount of money because that's what they're used to dealing with on that side of the street. And Terence Crawford has to come out his comfort zone for his legacy and push for these fights. And like Floyd Mayweather said, he laid out the blueprint for guys like Terence Crawford to be a much bigger star. And he don't understand why they don't grab the saddle and ride the horse. So these are the same sentiments we were uttering, or guys like myself. I don't want to say we, myself, were uttering when it comes to Terence Crawford and his career. He should be a much bigger star. He should be getting, like I said, once you read, heavy is the head that bears the crown. Like Floyd Mayweather said, he wasn't able to just fight low-level guys once he got to a certain position. He had to fight mega, massive fights because heavy is the head that bears the crown. And this is the same situation that Terence Crawford is in. But he's not grabbing the bull by the horns. He's allowing his career to be dictated instead of him dictating his career. But that's all I got for y'all, man. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.